Every ancient excavation comes with a price of time, effort, and hope, and Oak Island is a prime example of that. After years of searching, Rick Lagina and his team are finding some clues that match up with previous excavations. This time, they're focusing on Lot 13, land in the northeast part of the swamp that has been investigated before. As the excavations begin, the team notices some unusual changes in the soil layers. The soil layers suddenly begin to change, especially when they find a section of blue clay. This is the same type of clay that historians and old reports say was found around the Money Pit during an 1804 excavation. If you're intrigued by these discoveries and want to follow every twist in this mystery, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update from Oak Island. Rick and Tom Nolan are serious about this search. For them, it's not just a search for treasure, but an attempt to understand the history that is buried on this island. Every member of the team approaches the process with utmost sincerity, knowing that any small clue, an old piece or layer of a particular material, could lead them to the point they've been looking for years. The combination of old excavations and modern techniques on Oak Island has now revealed some new things. When the team recently re-examined a round stone structure called the Eye of the Swamp, they found the same blue soil there which had been seen earlier at many important places. This soil is something special. In 2018, when this place was first marked, its shallow depth and round shape surprised the team. Such things are not found in normal natural formations, but now, years later, when the same soil was found at another place, it cannot be considered a mere coincidence. Rick Lagina and his team sat down and discussed this point with experts. He told that in 1804, when the Money Pit was first excavated, similar blue soil was found at a depth of 40 feet, which acted as a sealant to prevent water. This information is not just historical, but also practical. Rick suggested that if someone had really tried to waterproof a structure, the use of blue clay may have been intentional, meaning it may have all been planned. With this new discovery, the team realized they weren't just following a story, but rather confronting evidence of actual engineering, possibly done by people at the time who wanted to hide something beneath Oak Island. The key to every archaeological discovery is understanding the reasons behind suspicious objects. When the team refocused on a particular area during the Oak Island excavation, called the quadrilateral, they noticed an unusual layer, a thick layer of soil hidden beneath the rocks. The next morning, geologist Dr. Ian Spooner was called in to inspect the site. He described the thickness and presence of the soil as unusual. He said it was unlikely that the soil had accumulated naturally, given the general geology of the area. When the team analyzed the soil further, they found that it contained layers of different colors, indicating that it may have been subjected to heat or burning. Some areas also contained Brentwood-type soil and remains of burnt wood, which did not match and indicated that the site had been disturbed on purpose. It didn't end there. The team noted the peculiar arrangement of the stones around the site and considered the possibility that it was easier to place such large stones than to dig them out from beneath, indicating that this was done intentionally. Based on this discussion, the team speculated that the quadrilateral area was probably designed as a kind of safe to protect the structure underneath from water ingress. The large stones were considered important in this and may have been part of that protective construction. During the excavation, the team also found a piece of what was initially thought to be a normal stone, but on closer inspection it turned out to be a large iron staple, possibly hand-forged. It had wood-like lines on its surface, indicating that it may have been used to reinforce or tie down a structure, as in ancient construction techniques. The combination of the staple, the blue clay, and the haphazard but clearly placed stones suggests that there may have been some significant construction at this location at some point, and that there is probably still much more hidden below ground. When iron objects are found in an old excavation, it's not just a question of age, it's a question of their use. The discovery of a large metal staple on Oak Island made the team think again. It was excavated from the same area known as the quadrilateral, a rectangular structure that had been the subject of many speculations. Rick and Marty Lagina, Craig Tester, archaeologist Emma Culligan, and metal expert Carmen Lake studied the staple at the Interpretive Center. It was the first time such a geometric structure and such a large staple had been found on Oak Island. The team was unsure of what purpose it might have been used for. Carmen took a closer look at it and determined that it was not an anchor staple. Because of its design, it would easily come out if pulled straight, leading to speculation that it may have been used to hold wooden poles or trees, and perhaps to guide ropes or blocks. The discussion didn't stop there. Discussion also turned to whether the staples were used to position the heavy stones that make up the quadrilateral structure. If so, it would point to a much older construction system. Carmen said staples of this type have been made since the Middle Ages, making the discovery even more special. Before the meeting, Emma tested the staple with an X-ray fluorescent spectrometer. This test revealed that it was made of 98% iron and also contained elements such as silicon, aluminum, manganese, calcium, sulfur, and phosphorus. These chemical signatures helped to predict the type of furnace or technology used to make it. The team concluded that the staple was very old, and its presence indicated that significant construction work had once taken place in the quadrilateral area. Rick said that this work may have taken place a long time ago, and now it seems more real than ever. Once the analysis was complete, the team decided to dig deeper to find out what the staple was actually used for, but then new information came to light that caught the team off guard. In the Money Pit area, Terry and his team began digging a new borehole DN11-FU5. After each stage, soil samples were being taken and sent to the investigation team in plastic bags. Through these samples, it was hoped that they could reach some big secret hidden within the area, and now they felt that they may be closer to that destination than they thought. At every stage of excavation on Oak Island, the key element is sampling. As part of this process, geologists Terry Matheson and Charles Barkhouse were tasked with examining the bags of excavated soil. They carefully opened each bag and looked at the soil in detail, hoping to find clues that could take the story of this mysterious island a step further. After a while, it became clear that the drilling was reaching the depth that the team had long considered the treasure zone, an area between 80 and 120 feet. At this critical juncture, geologist Dr. Ian Spooner was also on site to monitor the progress of the work. Terry told him that so far, the drilling had reached a depth of 78.8 feet, and they were very close to the target. Suddenly, a loud noise came from the drill machine, which annoyed machine operator Tedford. Although he continued working, the drill soon had to be pulled back. It seemed as if there was an obstruction below. Tedford immediately informed the team, as the matter did not seem simple anymore. The team immediately dropped a rope down so that they could measure the distance between the last opening and the newly formed void. When the measurement was done, everyone was surprised. The void was about 1.5 feet long. Tedford told Terry and the others that the void was found a little below 90 feet, meaning there was an opening inside the ground. The discovery of this opening gave the team new hope, as this was the same area they refer to as the baby blob, a potential area where the treasure could be buried. Realizing the importance of this discovery, Terry decided to stop drilling for a while so that they could consider this information with a cool mind. Rick took this opportunity to recall old experiences. How every time a void or clue is found, hopes are raised, but many times they turn out to be just an illusion. Will something be different this time? This was the question on everyone's mind now. A little while later, a core sample wrapped in plastic sheet was brought in. All eyes were on it, and when it was opened, it revealed a large chunk of mud inside, with pieces of wood tangled in it. Terry carefully picked out one of the pieces and decided to send it to the lab for testing to see if there was any metal in it. Until the report came in, the team was excited by the idea that there might be a tunnel down there. To confirm this guess, they decided to send a camera down into the void to visually check if there was actually a tunnel, or just an air-filled cavity. Although Marty was a little skeptical about the possibility of a tunnel, he also supported the decision to send the camera down, because it was a low-risk move. Marty said that they have faced moments like this before while working on Oak Island, where the excitement is high, but the results are disappointing. Both Rick and Marty have been involved in this search since before the TV series began. He has seen very closely how a small hope can turn into a big disappointment, and that is why he now moves forward after carefully examining every clue. While many samples have been tested during the ongoing search on Oak Island, a recent report of a piece of wood caught the team's attention again. The wood was dried and tested with an X-ray fluorescence spectrometer, XRF, for geochemical analysis. The purpose of the test was to find out what elements were present in this piece. As geologist Emma explained, some metals such as potassium and manganese are often found in natural materials like wood, so their presence was not considered unusual. But when she reported that traces of gold were also present in this sample, the entire team was surprised. They did the test twice to confirm. This information had special significance to Rick Lagina. For him, it was not just a discovery, but a sign that this long effort was now moving in the right direction. Emma also explained that the presence of gold in this piece of wood did not seem natural. It is possible that someone had deliberately placed it in this place. Rick connected this discovery to previous findings, recalling that traces of gold had been found in the water in the garden shaft area before. Now that gold had been found in the wood, it pointed to a possible connection between the two events. Rick asked Craig to contact Marty to convey this information immediately. When Marty heard that gold had been found in the wood, he laughed and said that now gold is found everywhere, just not in his hands. Despite the joke, he recognized that this discovery was an important achievement, and the team should move forward with patience. At the end of the meeting, there was a new enthusiasm in the team. They were now committed to carry forward their work with more precision. For them, this was not just another clue, but a concrete step that could take them closer to the mystery they have been trying to solve for years. The reconstruction process of Garden Shaft was also progressing rapidly. One morning, Rick arrived at the site and met Jack. He joked that watching the hammer grab machine in action was like a show. Jack agreed and said that the Dumas team did a good job on time and everything was slowly falling into place. One question has remained constant behind every phase of the excavation on Oak Island. Are we any closer to the original structure that was first discovered centuries ago? Recent discoveries led the team to believe that the old wooden structure they found in the garden shaft area could be directly connected to the initial money pit. Wood samples dating to around 1735 and traces of gold found in the water further strengthened this assumption. Rick Lagina ventured into a section of the garden shaft where a new vertical structure had been built by Dumas Contracting Limited. The construction reached a depth of about 80 feet, but the work didn't stop there. After reaching this depth, the team also began digging some lateral tunnels to investigate surrounding areas. The goal of this endeavor was not just to find treasure, but to better understand Oak Island's complex geologic history. Dumas' technical team monitored the entire expedition with high-definition cameras and advanced equipment like Spectrum 120, which allowed accurate observation of the activities under the ground. Every layer, every signal, every change was being taken seriously. Rick Lagina and Scott Barlow, who have been associated with this mystery since childhood, were very excited to descend to this depth for the first time. When they saw the wood still preserved under the ground and the structure around it, it became a historic moment for them. While sharing this experience, they also said that if there are more old structures or chambers here, then it is just a matter of time to find them. They thanked the Dumas team, without whose hard work and expertise this effort would not have been possible. Another important clue came to light during the search: some old shipping logs which indicate that a fleet of French soldiers came to Oak Island in 1746. These documents possibly belong to the Duc d'Anville expedition, which was sent by France with the intention of reconquering Louisbourg. All these discoveries made the team realize that Oak Island is not just a myth, but a collection of truths hidden in the layers of history, which can be slowly revealed if work continues in the right direction and using scientific methods. Whenever coins or metal objects emerge from an old place, they not only add value, but also a piece of history. One particular discovery in the first season on Oak Island stunned the team. It was a Spanish copper coin known as the 8 Reals. It was discovered by Steve Zazulich with a metal detector. Historians believe the coin may have arrived here by ship in the 17th century. Then, when the metal detecting process was repeated on the beach in the second season, Gary Drayton found 2 Britannia coins, dating back to the reign of King Charles II. The coins were hidden under a layer of rocks and pyrite, one of which bore the date of the excavation in 1771. In another episode, the 90-foot stone, the team re-examined one of those coins and found that a cross-like symbol was engraved on it. The discovery was made in 2022 or earlier and filled the explorers with new enthusiasm. The question also arose whether the coin was used in financial transactions at that time or was made for some religious or symbolic purpose. In the same search, when Gary Drayton and Rick Lagina reached a different part of the beach, they found a cross made of solid lead. Expert investigation revealed that the cross probably dates back to the 13th century. Further research speculated that Oak Island may also be related to historical groups such as the Knights Templar. When they reached a hitherto unknown area of the island with the help of a metal detector, they found a piece of copper and an old type of cartwheel 2-pence coin there. After removing a large rock, when Drayton got a signal from the metal detector, Rick Lagina dug and took out a precious jeweled brooch from there. Its gem was made of lead glass, while gold was used in other parts. One of the most interesting discoveries was an ancient stone with inscriptions that have not been clearly deciphered to date, as well as 16th century coins and gold chains recovered from a secret underground chamber, crypt. These discoveries, as well as a documentary showing how the team recreated a salvage mission to a sunken ship, gave their treasure hunt a new twist. Years of excavations on Oak Island have now begun to yield clues that match the events recorded in history. Some of the items found during the recent excavations of the Curse of Oak Island, such as an ancient pickaxe and pieces of charred wood, indicate that human activity was taking place on the island as early as the late 17th century. Carbon dating of 2 human skeletons dated the period from the late 1600s to the mid-700s, and excavations in soil layers revealed evidence of activity between 1674 and 1700. These facts make the history of Oak Island even more credible. According to historical records, an English captain named Phipps and his team arrived on the island with the aim of securing the treasure. Their goal was not to acquire the wealth immediately, but to protect it by hiding it. They planned to hide the wealth underground by digging in a place known as the Money Pit. But during the excavation, they found an underground cavity that collapsed under the weight of the excavation, filling the pit with water. Not only did this foil their plan, but the area became a web of mysterious tunnels and water-filled passages for years to come. After the excavation was completed, Phipps's team returned to England and informed the government about the incident. Even after this, attempts to extract the treasure continued through many secret expeditions. By the 1750s, the British government built many tunnels, traps, and flood control routes on Oak Island to regain access to the property. Continuing this link of history, the Lagina brothers and their team are conducting a modern experimental excavation campaign in the Money Pit area. Rick and Marty Lagina visited the progress of the drilling work going on inside the garden shaft. They learned that the drilling has now reached a depth of 93 feet, the point where they expect the tunnel to turn west and lead to the potential treasure. Rick said it was the last day of the dig, and there was no longer any doubt. He informed the Dumas team that they had to hurry up since they only had half a day left to search. As Rick surveyed the situation, he noticed a team member gathering a wooden object. He suggested there might be wood underneath and expressed a desire to pull the piece out and examine it. When he asked the other team members for their opinion, they all agreed that this would be the right thing to do. When some anomalies were detected during the drilling on Oak Island, Rick Lagina immediately instructed the team to be cautious. Rodney was told to stop drilling, and Roger was told to pull out the drill rods, clear the debris, and collect whatever came up for examination. Rick reiterated that Oak Island doesn't often give up its secrets so easily, and that's the biggest challenge of this search. According to Rick, the layers of wood found at the bottom of garden shaft can only be properly evaluated if every sample and every clue is taken seriously. When questioned, Ronnie said nothing special was found other than a few small fragments. But when Rodney was asked if he still believed the drill had touched wood, he said he was about 99.9% certain that wood was contacted on the north side, even if it wasn't the center of the tunnel, but probably the side of it. Rick reiterated that it is not easy to extract facts hidden in the layers of Oak Island, but if they are on the edge of the exact boundary of the tunnel, they can project that direction forward. He suggested that he and Marty would try to understand its condition better by going to the bottom of the garden shaft themselves. On this occasion, Rick recalled the journey of past years and said that he never thought that one day he himself would go so deep inside the Money Pit. For him, it was a personal and historical experience, which felt like the realization of an unfulfilled childhood dream. Marty also explained the importance of this experience. He said that after almost 60 years, Rick and he are now standing at the place where hundreds of explorers have come before, and today they themselves are moving forward on the same path. He also said that this experience has become a symbol not only of discovery, but of their mutual relationship and a shared journey. Rick agreed with Marty and said the trip had taken them to a place in the past where every step felt connected to history. He said time may be limited, but he was determined to continue the search. Marty suggested paying special attention to the bottom of the garden shaft, as heavy objects and important materials often accumulate at the lowest point. He also echoed Gary Drayton's advice to check such places with a metal detector. Rick agreed and said a metal detector can detect metal objects hidden below, even if they are just a few inches above the surface. Marty added that his detector is waterproof, so it can be partially submerged in water to continue the search, especially when the target is so close. The time constraints on Oak Island required the team to make decisions quickly and carefully. Once it was decided that metal detectors would be used to check for potential metal signs, Scott immediately contacted Roger to call Gary. This move was necessary as the team felt they were very close to a major clue. The team was filled with excitement when Gary Drayton arrived. He said that this was a special experience for him, the first time he had the opportunity to use a metal detector in the money pit area. Gary also explained that although modern nails or wires could be found there, the CX3030 metal detector they had with them had the technology to distinguish such unwanted metals. Rick told Gary about their two main priorities. First, to find tools or objects dropped down by old workers, and second, to check if they were really close to a significant discovery. Gary and the team began digging together and dug a hole about 2 feet deep, after which a potential clue was found. The team was stirred by Gary's confirmation of the presence of non-ferrous metals. This was no ordinary moment. The possibility of gold, silver, or copper hidden in the soil caught everyone's attention. Rick openly praised Gary's expertise at this moment and recognized that this moment could bring a new twist to their entire search. Amidst all the excitement, however, there was a reality. They could not dig further without proper permission. It would have been against the rules to continue digging without the permission of the Dumas team. It was clear to the team that they had to follow a completely legal and safe process, even if it would delay the work a little. Both Rick and Marty decided to prioritize patience and responsibility. They recognized that the safety of the team and the reputation of the project were more important than finding the treasure. Haste or violation of rules could have serious consequences, which they wanted to avoid. Ultimately, the team decided with a heavy heart to stop digging for the time being and follow proper procedure to decide the way forward. Every expedition has an end, and sometimes that end is incomplete. As the team packed up their equipment and prepared to leave the site, they had mixed feelings, disappointment on one hand and determination to move forward on the other. Although this year's excavation was full of obstacles, their intentions never wavered. The passion to solve the riddles of Oak Island was still the same as it was years ago. The non-ferrous metal sign found by Gary once again raised hopes, but the time limit and restrictions of rules prevented them from moving forward. After the night passed, the next morning there was a final meeting in the war room. There, Rick thanked the entire group for the long journey they had taken together. He also acknowledged that each member's thinking, experience, and perspective was different, and this diversity kept inspiring them to think in new directions, again and again. In his talk, Rick also recalled the initial phase when this search began with only 5 pages of information. Even years later, their goal remained the same: to uncover the truth that had been buried for centuries. He also reminded the team of those who had tried their luck on the island before this attempt. Whether it was the early treasure hunters or today's technical experts, everyone has added a chapter to this story. Looking at all the faces in the meeting, Rick realized the depth of this effort. This was not just an excavation. It was a shared effort that had become part of a larger story. He invited everyone to think of themselves as part of not just an expedition, but a historical series. When an effort spans years and endures all weather and hardships, the end is not just a conclusion, it's an experience. When the team sat together for the last time in the war room, the atmosphere was emotional, but there was no trace of defeat. Instead, there was a tinge of pride, gratitude, and hope. Rick addressed everyone in a calm voice. He admitted that his voice often chokes in such emotional moments, but he thanked them profusely without holding back. He said that this journey was not just about digging or searching, it was a shared journey in which his family, his team, and his faith were all together. He described the moments he spent with Tom, Marty, and his nephew as special, and considered the shared efforts of the team more important than the discovery they have been making so far. Every piece of soil that comes out of Oak Island is as much a memory as it is a piece of information. Although the expedition was in its final stages, Rick clearly said that his journey does not end here. They believed that some of the most important discoveries still lay ahead, and they kept their word with that belief. Over the years, the team has seen a lot: setbacks, small hints, and sometimes a faint glimmer of hope. But each time they got back up, dug again, and grappled again with the mystery that Oak Island has been hiding for so many years. Today, as they look around them in the war room at the maps, artifacts, and old records, they realize that the real treasure may not be the metal or the coins, but the relationships, the experiences, and the shared history that bind them together. Oak Island has become more than just a geographic location. It is now a symbol of human curiosity, courage, and shared dreams. As the team prepares for the final expedition, they do so with their heads held high, realizing that whether they reach the treasure or not, their journey will echo for generations to come. And in this video, you were watching that very journey, where the Lagina brothers found the treasure they had been looking for all these years. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more such videos. See you next time.